Yo, what is up? It's Mystery Mitri here with another legendsz-a video. Well, sort of. This is more about shiny hunting discourse in general, but legendsz-a is at the center of it. Anyway, shiny hunting discourse is back and I don't like it. I don't like it because this happens every year, and it always opens up a big can of worms on social media. legendsz-a has been out since October 16, 2025. I've been playing it for a few hours every single day since it came out, and I've only actively hunted using the methods discovered by other Pokemon players for 2 shinies. In Wild Zone 4 on October 17th, I caught a shiny Ghastly that I then evolved into a Haunter. In Wild Zone 1 on October 19th, I did the shiny Mareep side quest, similar to the shiny Ponyta side quest in Legends Arceus. On October 21st, I caught a shiny Stunfisk in Wild Zone 11. On October 22nd, I caught a shiny Numel in Wild Zone 8. On October 25th, I went into Wild Zone 2 randomly and caught a shiny Magikarp. I was messing around on in-game rooftops one day while playing the game on October 30th when I heard a shiny sound below me under the rooftops, and eventually found a shiny Trubbish on Jean Street. Then I randomly went back into the Wild Zone 1 the same day, checked the spawns, and unexpectedly Weedle shined, and then I caught it. Then I did fast travel on the map a few times, and I used Wild Zone 1 as my testing location for the method, even though I knew what I saw worked because I watched a lot of other YouTubers do it before, and also streamers. So I fast traveled a few times by flying to Wild Zone 1 time and time again, maybe only between 7 to 10 times, and in the distance I saw a Fletchling shine and then went into the Wild Zone 1 and caught it. Unfortunately, I wasn't recording any gameplay when I got these shinies, but Fletchling is pretty much the only one I successfully got by actively hunting for. Ever since then, I've also gotten 2 more shinies. I can't remember what they are now, but I'll place them on screen in the video. They've just been random encounters, essentially. I think one of them was a Kakuna, so I've almost gotten the Beedrill line complete shiny-wise in legendsz-a by itself. And I swear if a Beedrill shines in one of the wild zones or just, walking around, I'm going to laugh because I did not intend to hunt those whatsoever. So, there you go. Anyway, I got both of those when not hunting. And for the most part, I haven't really hunted for anything. But anyways, moving on. Currently, I believe my research level is 41 or 42, so I do not have the shiny charm because that's level 50, and I plan to make my main save file be the one that's without the shiny charm, so I guess that's something to worry about as well. Anyway, I do plan to play the game a bit more and have at least one save file that does have the charm, but I feel like I'm going to get way too many shinies if I end up doing that. But I just have no interest on having it on my main save file. Now, on to the main point of this video. legendsz-a and getting shinies being easier than ever before for years now, even before ZA's release aside. I actually sort of enjoy that shinies are a bit easier to get nowadays. I know most people won't agree with me here, but hear me out. When Generation 6 came out, I was pretty late to the party getting the Kalos games and the Hoenn remasters on the 3DS, while everyone else had already been playing them for some time. The 6th generation of mainline Pokemon games had many methods that could be used as ways to find shiny Pokemon in the wild, but that was not their only intended use. For example, Dexnav and Oras, when your companion character tells you to sneak up on a wild Pokemon, the scan of it on the bottom screen will potentially show an egg move, and I think 2 or 3 stars. I want to say that has something to do with IVs, but I'm not sure. But anyway, regarding the egg move, for example, in my case, I did the tutorial when I played as May, I believe, and Brendan showed me that, oh hey, this Poochyena has Ice Fang on it, based on according to the Dexnav data. Anyways, on my review playthrough, the Poochyena had Ice Fang on it, and then some people don't really care about what the stars meant, only wanted to continue using it to hunt for shinies, which Dexnav also helped with, though I can't remember how exactly, it's been several years. Anyway, outside of Dexnav, you also have Chain Fishing, Masuda Method, Horde Hunting, Soft Resetting, Random Encounters, Friend Safari, which are XY exclusive, and Poke Radar, which is also X and Y exclusive. I added Soft Resetting and Random Encounters in this list because, technically to me, they are methods, but they're also full odds methods, if that makes any sense. I know people are going to be like, but soft resetting and random encounters are not a method because every other thing is methods. And I know. You don't get increased odds with soft resetting or random encounters, unless you go into Friend Safari where they do increase because it's Friend Safari. And Friend Safari is just basically random encounters, but like, I don't know, Temu level random encounters, I guess. I guess that's the only way I could really put it. But anyways, yeah, compared to, I think it was like 1 in 512 or 1 in 583 or something. I don't know what the odds were. The odds are kind of weird. They've always been like debated or something. But it's not 1 out of 4,096 like no shiny charm odds with random encounters and X and Y or soft resets and stuff like that. And it's definitely not any 1 out of 8,192 either. Obviously. Obviously, PokeRadar came back from Gen 4, but I don't know what the odds are in Gen 4, and I know they didn't really have increased odds back then, I guess. Not really, because everything was more full odds than 1 out of 8,192 and all that back in the good old days, you know. But I started shiny hunting in basically 2016. I will say this, I wasn't a shiny hunter before that year. When I was talking about shinies, I've never really hunted them on purpose, really, until that year. I don't know, but now I'm not even hunting for them, and I'm getting them like left and right, basically. Like my friend, he's only got 1 shiny, and he wasn't hunting or anything. He just got a random Weedle, and then I have 9 shinies compared to his 1. Or however many I have. I don't even know. But anyway, obviously the methods had their own little other uses that weren't for shiny hunting and stuff. You know, Dex now you could get egg moves. Horde hunting you could do EV training really easily, that sort of thing. But a lot of people use these mainly to shiny hunt. And then Dex Nav had its own variants. You could be in the cave doing Dex Nav. You could be on water surfing. I don't know if people called it water nav or surf nav. I can't remember. You could go in the desert. You could desert nav, that sort of thing. But it was still one method. It was Dex Nav, but depending on the location that you're in, it was called something else. Now, talking about shiny odds, in the games from Gen 2 to Gen 5, I'm obviously not including Gen 1 here, even though shinies did exist in Gen 1, but with DVs and the color palette stuff not really being worried about yet, it doesn't really matter, especially since shinies were officially introduced in Gen 2 with the Red Gyarados. It just makes more sense for me to just say Gen 2 to Gen 5. So, Gen 2 didn't really have methods either. I guess you could count the odd egg hunt as sort of like method hunting, and then the shiny ditto breeding glitch thing as a method, but that's more of a exploit than a method, I guess. I don't really know. I guess I'm accidentally adding some more discourse here, which I did not mean to do. But anyway, I'm saying that it's just one of those things. And obviously, egg breeding's a little complicated because you have to have the shiny parent and all that, and just having the ditto just makes it easier for everybody. But getting the ditto's a little complicated, obviously. Unless you cheat one into Gen 2, or you do that Gyarados ditto thing, time capsule trading between Gen 1 and Gen 2 thing. I'm not going to get into depth on that because people have already done that video. Anyway, and I can't remember. And then for PokeRadar, I don't think you get it until you see all the Pokemon in the Sinnoh Pokedex in Gen 4, so you don't even have to really worry about PokeRadar until afterwards, after beating the game, or after seeing every Pokemon or whatever, which I guess would mean that you would have to play the entire game first, prior to like maybe even some of the post-game too. I don't even know. It's been a while since I played Gen 4, so yeah, just let me know if I'm incorrect about any of this, please and thank you. Anyway, the point is, prior to Gen 5 introducing the shiny charm, I can't talk today, the odds were 1 out of 8,192, and I think the shiny charm decreased those odds to 1 out of 4,096, but I'm not 100% sure. If I remember correctly, the shiny charm isn't even available until much later anyway in Gen 5, and so it's basically just also a full odds hunting generation as well. I want to say it might be the sequels and it might be post-game, but I can't remember because I never collected the shiny charm because I did not care. And I also didn't know it existed because my first introduction to it was actually in Gen 6, so I mistakenly thought it was a Gen 6 key item and not a Gen 5 key item. Long story. Anyway, speaking of Gen 6 comes around and changes everything. Full odds are now 1 out of 4,096 or something like that. And now all the method hunts have different odds. I think random encounters or soft resets with charm are down to 1 out of 1,365, but I think that number could also be inaccurate, but I knew it was definitely around there. I still don't know exactly how change fishing works. I think that's the most misunderstood mechanic of the Generation 6 games. But I've seen some evidence that the community used to find it either ridiculous or ludicrous, or one of those two words. Of course, I'm not the biggest fan of having to find a Pokemon with sticky hold or suction cups, because I don't want to have a Pokemon in my party that needs to be there to keep the chain going, even if it's fainted at 0 HP in the front slot. I think that with every single time that you chain, like you do the successful reel, I think your chain should increase, and your likelihood of, no, there's not even a nibble or something like that, should disappear with every successful reeling of the fish hook or whatever you call it. So I don't know why they didn't do that instead, but they decided, hey, we're going to give you a sticky holder suction cups mon to enhance the ability a little bit more. I don't know why they just didn't put it into the mechanic as the game as, having that mechanic of if you successfully consistently reel it in, you will have a less chance of it failing. They should have just done it like that. I don't think that they did. With suction cups and sticky hold, that problem eliminates itself, but it shouldn't have to have relied on an ability in order to do so. But that's just my opinion, and you guys can call me wrong about it if you want, because that's it at the end of the day. Your thoughts are your thoughts, my thoughts are my thoughts. And we can disagree, and we can agree to disagree if we want to, and that's fine. But I will say, I do love chain fishing. You can get like a polywag in like 2 reels, but then it would take you forever to get like a Dratini in like 4,000 probably. Even though I don't really know the odds or whatever, but if you have like, if your RNG's terrible, then you'll be like me and you'll never get the Dratini, and you'll always get like a polywag or polywhirl or whatever else was in that area. But I can get Magikarps pretty easily in every single game, so there's that. Although I'm not worried about old rod chain fishing or anything like that. But more to the point, I will say that sticky hold and suction cups is actually not an issue, because it's just a tiny amount of extra work. And then with Dex Nav, you have, if I understood the bottom screen correctly, Egg Move, plus Shiny, plus possibly good IVs, depending on when the target chooses to shine. I also think you have to either knock them out or catch them to keep the chain going or something. And Horde Hunting will allow you to see 5 Pokemon at once. And in those, there's a chance that 1 or in some cases 2 of those Pokemon can be shiny. Obviously, obviously those methods spoiled people, and they wanted easier ways to get shinies, because sometimes getting a true full odds shiny is a lot of work. And as someone who has gotten true full odds shinies before, I have gotten them under odds, like way under odds, and almost 2 odds at some points. But I do think it's a lot of fun. It is still a lot of work. It is a lot of fun. But I kind of enjoy the breath of fresh air that legendsz-a gives us by just allowing us to bench reset, fast travel, or in some cases, I guess, soft reset spawns and whatnot, which not very many people know about right now, I don't think. But I saw a video in regards to a Fennekin spawn, and someone was doing soft resetting, but you have to like time it very well. I don't know the whole situation there. My point is, a lot of people are saying, oh, these exploits aren't shiny hunting. Oh, this is more an exploit. This is more RNG manipulation. You're just doing something to get the game to give you shinies a little bit easier. Every single time that we do something in the game, no matter what it is, whether it's RNG manipulation, whether it's bench resetting, whether it's fast travel, whether it's whatever. Like, I don't AFK shiny hunt because I don't have a turbo controller. I literally will sometimes go away, for example, and in Wild Zone 3, I will reset the doors and stuff, and I have no luck with that whatsoever. I have no idea how people are getting shinies there. Probably because they have better RNG than my game does. But either way, my point I'm trying to make here is we all love Pokemon at the end of the day. There's no wrong way to play Pokemon. Pokemon fans seem to never be happy. Shiny hunting discourse happens every single year, every single time a new game releases. And this argument is the equivalent of in Sun and Moon. Why aren't you in the pen? Why aren't you Tauros riding in the fence for your Masuda eggs to be hatched? Why aren't you putting a coin on your 3DS circle pad so that you can bike across the battle resort so that you can hatch your eggs in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire faster? Why aren't you looping around Lumiose to hatch eggs? Why aren't you doing that bridge back and forth or whatever it was in Gen 5 to hatch your eggs there? Why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? Why aren't you doing this? Or they'll say, oh, well, you could go to Gen 7 and go to the Ultra Wormholes and you could just get your legendary Pokemon there instead of going to a Gen 4 game or something. Like, I'm just going to end with saying, let people play the games they want to, let people shiny hunt the way they want to, and let's stop having these arguments for the foreseeable future. I think we just need to end this argument once and for all. Pokemon is meant to be enjoyed however people want it. People can casually play through games. People can Nuzlocke them. People can shiny hunt. People can speedrun them. People can shiny hunt using methods or full odds. People can do full odds egg breeding if they want to in games that have Masuda Method instead of doing Masuda Method. They are allowed. People are allowed to explore exploits and glitches. People are allowed to go crazy in Wild Zone 20 and see if they can generate a bunch of shiny alphas at once. People are allowed to do that. I don't understand why Discourse is still happening in 2025. We're all coming together to play the same game, to enjoy the same franchise that we all know and love. And yet, once again, for yet another year, Pokemon fans are truly, unfortunately, still never happy.